Hey guys, my name is Lilly and today I want to give you some prepping news from Austria. So now we have April of 2023 and first I would like to talk about the weather. And as you can see today it's raining and actually we are really happy that it's raining. And that's because Europe has been in a drought since 2018. So this is actually one of the newspaper articles that was published 1 month ago when it was really dry and just not raining and everything was dry. And they were saying that the drought is even worse than last year. So we have a drought since 2018 and it's raining less and less. And 2 years ago, I have observed that some of the leaves of trees and shrubs were hanging down in the summertime. So that's something I've never seen before. And yeah, that's really bad for the farmers, right? So now here in spring, it's planting season and seedlings need a constant moisture in the soil. So yeah, finally now it's raining. It has been raining for a good week and it has rained a lot. They have said that it has rained more in the last 60 hours than in the entire April. We are happy that it's raining, but it's also now getting really cold. And actually I had problems to heat my greenhouse because right now I have some small tomato seedlings in my greenhouse and they almost froze off. So it was even freezing temperatures in some regions of Austria. And they also say that now some trees, they won't have fruit because the blossom has died again. And that has become now a yearly phenomena because very often in April it's now getting freezing cold, sometimes colder than in December or January, which is crazy. So yeah, that's the weather here in Austria, and actually the groundwater table is decreasing with every year, and that is causing problems for a lot of people who have earth warmth systems to heat their houses. So here I know a couple of people who have heating systems where you drill down into the ground and then you send down water, and this is how you can heat your house. It's a very expensive drill, but once you have it done, you can heat your house for free. Now the problem is that now the groundwater table is so low that sometimes people they cannot reach the water table anymore. So my neighbors have this system. They drilled down to 22 meters, but now the water table is 30 meters below the surface. And now their heating is not working anymore. That's a huge problem. But now finally it's raining and we are all hoping that the groundwater table is rising again because, it is a problem. The drought is a real problem for agriculture, but also for people who have this heating system. Actually, here in Austria, we do not have water irrigation systems on the fields. So those round circular things that some of you guys have in the US, we don't have that here in Austria because there was no need to. So we always got regular rain and most of the time it was working out. So if there's a prolonged drought, it means that there can be a complete crop failure. So yeah, crazy weather here in Austria. Sometimes it's not raining for 2 months and then all of a sudden we get all of the rain in 60 hours. So pretty extreme weather, and that's of course not good for agriculture and for other sectors too. Okay, next I would like to talk about the inflation in Europe and especially in my country. Unfortunately, we still have 10 to 11% of inflation in Austria. In other countries it's already going down, but here it's not going down. I think Germany is doing much better than us, but still in Germany, as you can see here, every 6th German citizen, is existentially fighting for his existence. And that's because one of the reasons is that the prices of food are really, really high in Germany. They are saying that the situation is dramatic, and if the inflation continues, we will see an economic disaster and more pressure on the social system. And I think that's totally right, because now with the inflation and everything getting more expensive, people cannot afford anything anymore. So they have to touch their savings, and they are falling out of middle class and join the poverty class. Then they are applying to social welfare. And we in Europe, in Austria and in Germany, we have a good social welfare system which catches everybody who has troubles, okay? But now the thing is that for a good social welfare system, you need more people who are paying taxes and social welfare than there are poor people. And now it seems as if more and more people, they consider taking social welfare because they cannot survive anymore. And that might bring the social welfare system to a collapse. But I don't think they will let it collapse, because instead I think they are doing the only thing they can do, which is printing money. The bad thing about that is that they will perpetuate inflation if they keep printing money and if they keep making debts. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, or a downward spiral that we cannot get out of anymore. So yeah, that's really concerning. Now I'm really glad that I have a small veggie garden on my property here in suburbia. So a few years ago I have erected 5 raised beds, big ones, and a greenhouse. And back then the lumber was cheap. So I'm really glad that I invested in a veggie garden, and it's saving me so much money. So a couple of years ago I have done a calculation, and I have estimated the harvest, and then I have compared it to prices of food in the store. And back then I was saving around 1,200 euros, I believe, a year on food. And now with the increased prices of vegetables and fruit, I must save much more money. I have to do a new calculation, but I estimate that I save at least 2,000 euros a year on food with this small vegetable garden. And of course it really depends on the crops that you're growing. So you will make more money on tomatoes and salad or lettuce. Growing potatoes and onions does not really pay off because they are so cheap in the supermarket. So that doesn't pay off in a small area. But I'm still growing a small patch of onions and potatoes because it's my prepping food. I just want to have some potatoes in the ground and some onions in case of a blackout and in case we cannot go to the supermarket anymore. I want to be able to, dig up some really good carbohydrates which keep us going. So I always dedicate a small area for onions and potatoes because I believe that they are the most important prepping food that you can grow in a garden. I just checked the newspaper, so now it's raining so much that we have floodings again. It's crazy weather. It really sucks. So the fire brigade has to go to houses and pump out their cellars because in some regions they have too much of rain. Oh gosh. Also, today is the 15th of April, and today the last 3 nuclear plants were taken off the grid in Germany. So now Germany does not have nuclear energy anymore. So that happened today. It's pretty big news. Nuclear energy, whether you like it or not, it delivers a constant energy source. So it's not going up and down like solar and wind. So instead of using nuclear plants, they are now using more gas plants and also coal plants. But the coal plants are making so much CO2. So it's really crazy what's going on. And I have to admit that I'm also not a fan of nuclear energy. But we have to admit that it's a constant energy source. And if the plant is already there, why not use it for a little bit longer until our energy problem is solved? So for me, it makes no sense to switch off a safe nuclear power plant if the energy crisis is still going on. Okay, now here comes the bomb. Here I have another article that you won't believe, okay? So now before the war in Ukraine, Austria got 80% of our natural gas needs from Russia. And then they put sanctions on Russia to hurt them financially. And they all said, hey, we need to get away from Russian natural gas. So that was the plan. But now look at this. Here it's saying in this article that we are now using 71% natural gas from Russia again. And actually they were really lucky that this winter was so warm, because this is how they could get over the winter without causing a blackout. And now we are back. Oh, actually it's back at 80% again. So in February it was 80% again. So the same amount of gas, natural gas, is coming from Russia as before the war. 80%. It's crazy. I don't get it anymore. So first they say, oh, we need to get away from Russian gas, and now they're getting it from Russia again. And I think they do it because they don't have another choice. You cannot rebuild a huge infrastructure of energy in Europe in 1 year. It's not possible. And I estimate that it will take dozens of years, decades, until we can really be independent from the Russian gas. And this really proves it. We still get 80% of Russian gas. Crazy. I mean, this is the bomb. When I read this, I thought, oh my God, that's really unbelievable. Unbelievable what's going on. In the meantime, gas, my natural gas bill got 40% more expensive, and my electricity bill got 80% more expensive. And that's because they take a lot of natural gas. I believe 30% of what we have, we put into natural gas plants, and they convert it from natural gas to electricity. And this is why if natural gas gets more expensive, electricity and everything else will also get more expensive. Yeah, also used cars have gone up in price pretty tremendously. So I have an old car that I'm driving for 10 years now. I don't care if it's old because it's a good car. And I'm doing all of the repairs needed. And every time I'm going to the mechanic, they are saying that this is such a great car for the age and it has nothing except a little bit of rust. So I'm really happy with my car. I'm not going to get a new one. And I could not even afford getting a new one because the new cars are really expensive. And because new cars are so expensive, people are not buying so many new cars anymore. They are buying used cars. So now the used cars are getting more expensive too. And actually, I thought about selling this car a couple of years ago, but I didn't. And that was the right choice because right now I do not want to buy another car. I really do not. And I will drive this car until it's done. I will drive it until the motor is dead, really. So, yeah, I'm happy with my choice that I kept this old used car. And it was the best choice. So now if I have some money left, I will put it into the loan of my house. Because actually, a couple of years ago, when I signed the contract with the bank, unfortunately, I have a variable contract. So now my interest rates are going up. And right now, I believe we are at 3.5% interest rates. So that's going to be another problem for a lot of young families and house owners who have a lot of debts, because nobody thought that the interest rates are going to increase this much. So as you can see, we have a lot of attacks on the middle class of Europe. We have inflation, everything is getting more expensive, the cars, the food, the properties. If you want to buy something, it has gotten so much more expensive. I estimate 50% of price increase in the last 5 years, or even more. And then you have increased interest rates, and that's really what's breaking young families' necks. Yeah, the only thing that you can do now is prepare, buy food, because in case of an escalating war or in case of a blackout, you want to be prepared. And food is the most important thing. Buy food. You don't want to be hungry in a disaster situation or in a wartime situation. You want to have food. Food is the most important thing. If you have money left, invest it into food. Then if you got food, you can invest it into other things. Right now, I'm not buying any luxury goods anymore. Now, recently, I'm buying a lot of my things that I need used. And we have a great app for that in Austria. Every Austrian is on this app. And if you want to sell used or if you want to buy used products, you can do it there and you can get really cheap and good quality products. So this is what I'm doing most of the time now. I'm really trying to avoid buying new expensive equipment. Sometimes it's not possible because sometimes you won't find good stuff in the used section. But I really try hard to save money. And if I have money left, I just put it into my loan so that I get down with my debts. Because that's giving me headaches sometimes. So this is what I'm doing personally. And I really hope that you guys are doing great. I really hope that you're healthy because that's the most important thing. You want to stay healthy in a crisis. So take care of your body. Buy food, buy water. Maybe buy a water filtration system. I have a new water filter now that I want to try out for expeditions, but also for emergency situations. So yeah, guys, I think it's important to stay vigilant now, to be aware of what's going on around us, to stay prepared and also to stay healthy, which is the most important thing. Also, if you're seeing something going on in your area, maybe leave a comment below and tell us what you see. Thank you so much for watching and stay tuned till next time.